Hello everybody, Blue Dooley, and in this video we're talking radios. I got a FlySky Noble NB4 Plus finally to run more functions on the 53 hauler, and I've got all of the other radios I use sitting on my desk right now because I thought I'd do a little bit of a radio review, kind of what I like, and we'll go over a few prices as well. But I have to say, the FlySky radios, I have two of them now, and setting them up is so easy that I think I'm just going to start switching all of my rigs to FlySky, and I'll explain why in this video. But let's get the GoPro situated, and we'll kind of look over what all I have here on the desk. So we're going to start off with the Duratrax T24OFS. This is actually the first 2.4 gigahertz radio I bought, and actually the first radio anybody would have seen on the channel, as I got this radio to run the Wheelie King when I first started out filming and made it a crawler. This is a great little radio. I think I spent $70, maybe $80 for it, and that's 7 years ago at least. Great little radio, just a 2-channel, nothing super fancy. Just basic steering, throttle, trim, and steering dual rates, and you can reverse the 2 channels. I don't know about range. I don't tend to run my things way out far. But great little radio. I can steer it easily one-handed, but yeah, happy little radio. I am currently using this in the USA 1, as I only really needed 2 channels for that truck. So the next radio I purchased is the Spectrum DX4C, and I don't even think they make this anymore. But also drivable, one-handed. This is a 4-channel radio. I bought it at Hobbytown and spent about $100 for it. I have 2 receivers for this. It is currently set up to run my HPI Venture, Scale Builders Kit, and the CXT. But I like the scroll wheel on this, and setting this up wasn't too bad. And actually I really like the Spectrum. Again, the setup wasn't too bad. Button configurations and setting up 4-wheel steering on it was fairly straightforward. I still like this radio. Not very complex, easy to use, and the batteries seem to hold up pretty good in it as well. I really like this radio. Then we get into the semi-truck and the snowplow with this FSI-10. This is not a surface radio. This is actually it's set up for aircraft. That's why this stick doesn't return to center. But 10-channel. I want to say I spent $150, maybe a little closer to $200. I've had this one for quite a while too, so I don't really remember off the top of my head, but fantastic radio. It runs the Grand Hauler and the snowplow. It is iBus capable, so if you've seen videos on the Grand Hauler build, I don't actually have to run a servo lead from the receiver to every channel I want to run on the truck. I just run servo leads to the servos I want the radio control, and all the light functions, sound functions, and some of the other stuff is all off of iBus on this radio. So it's very simple to set up, and the screen on this is really easy to use. I do like using a stylus though, just because I have big fingers, and it's It's a little easier to set things with the stylist. But fantastic radio. This is going to stay in the Grand Hauler. And I will probably, when I switch the snowplow over, I'll hang on to the receiver and probably use this radio for converting a skid steer that I don't know if you can see or not. But again, this is my first FlySky radio, and I think it's fantastic. It's got black on black on black, I know, but it has a rechargeable battery, and it can do training mode. This radio also came with a ton of sensors. A motor temp sensor, an altimeter, I think. I never really messed with them because I use it in the ground surface instead of sky, so. But I really do like this radio. It has served me well. So we'll cover the Red Cat's stock radio, that RTX 4C that comes with the hauler, and I think they actually include this with some other crawlers as well. I'm not sure what this little compartment's for, but it has a little compartment. 4-channel radio. Again, I have kind of big hands, but it's pretty easy to drive one-handed. Channel 4 is just a 3-position switch. Channel 3 is just a button press. And, you know, steering reverse, throttle reverse, bind, steering trim, throttle trim, steering EPA, which is probably just their dual rate. But this is a fantastic radio, and I did use it on the truck for a little while, including even when I put the lay frame servos on it, which is on channel 3. But this radio just doesn't have enough channels to run everything I put on the truck since I got it. I am going to hang on to this radio and receiver, and we'll probably use it in a crawler or something else. Not sure. It feels good in the hand, and it is pretty nice to drive with. So the DX5 Rugged has been out for a little while now, and so is the Noble. But this is one of those radios I've seen people really, really like, or they really don't like it. And I'm kind of in the not liking it category. I mean, it's not bad. It's got great range and, you know, has all the features most people probably want. It is a 5-channel. So you got 3 switches here, and then the thumb steer, and of course you got 4 switches on top. The thing I don't like about it, and I think the thing a lot of people don't like about it, is this is kind of a touch sensitive menu, and even trying to use the stylus to scroll up and down on the screen, it's kind of a pain in the ass, I think. Again, after you get everything set up, it's probably fine, but yeah, I just don't like it as much as the DX4. The DX4 was so much easier to set up, and I got a scratch on the screen already. I've only used this on the hauler. I haven't actually ran it on any other vehicle. Currently on Amazon, this is $279 with a receiver. But, you know, throttle feels good. Steering's alright. Like I said, I just don't like the menu. Just trying to, if I had the non-rugged one, which has a scroll wheel, I would probably like it more than the rugged itself. But, I'll probably actually see if somebody in the crawler group or the area wants to step up to a better spectrum, because maybe they have some Horizon stuff and just want a 5-channel radio. So I'll probably let this go for cheap. And I should also mention the other factory radio I have, before we get to the Fly Sky, is HPI's 3-channel radio, and the wife's key fob for her winch. But this radio is really nice. It's kind of got all the features you want, and endpoint adjustments, or actually little screws. So it's a very analog system, but the wife has no problems running the truck with it. It is a nice radio, a nice RTR radio. I haven't used it a ton because, again, this is for the wife. But as you can see, as dusty as it is, she doesn't drive it that much. But HPI radio, pretty nice. And of course, the channel reversing here on the front. Now for the Noble NB4 Plus, let's see here. According to Amazon, which is where I ordered mine, $2.99, and it came with a 4-channel receiver. It actually has the most heft of almost everything except the 10-channel, and this is a nickel metal battery on the bottom that you can charge separately. It does have a battery in this, but you can flip this over and drive left-handed if you're a lefty, which I know some people might appreciate. And you can kind of adjust it anywhere you want, and it actually pulls back far enough. You can drive one-handed. Unlike the Spectrum and even actually the 10-channel, it has a color screen, but it's kind of a monochromatic. It's got a blue background, and then everything else is kind of black or yellow. This is a full color display on this radio. Came with a 4-channel receiver. I have an 8-channel still sealed in the container that here in a little bit we will go bind and set up the hauler with. We won't fully set the hauler up with because I don't have any lights wired in yet. But the 4-channel receiver this came with, I put in my Wheelie King, and I bound the receiver. Well, actually, I named the model first. Bound the receiver, set up steering and throttle, and then I had to reverse the steering, but that's just because of the way it is on the truck. And then set up 4-wheel steering on this radio. All of that, probably less than 10 minutes. I think it took me 10 minutes just to get the model name programmed in the Spectrum. But tons of switches, tons of functionality. So for the Wheelie King, regular steering, regular throttle, and then this pot here, I can use thumb, and that's what I set my 4-wheel steer. And then I think I reversed it so that its movement matches this. So if I turn both of them to the left, it crab walks left. If I turn both to the right, crab walks right. I can just run rear steer or just front steer. I've pretty much used every button on this radio for the hauler.
Welcome to Noble Plus.
So let me tap the screen on that. So model name, no RX, transmitter battery, sensors. You can set up what the sensors do. You can apparently also drag down to system. I just found that out. So here you can see all 8 channels. Channel 3 is going to be for the airbags. Channel 1 and 2 are steering. Channel 4, 5, and 6 are for lights and sound. Channel 7 and 8 are actually going to run the wheel lift. And I actually put them on these 2 wheels here, which actually are big enough you can run them from either side of the radio. So yeah, these will actually... I'll probably turn the beeping off, but I do like how it says center point, especially for the four-wheel steering, because then I can just turn the dial to where it says center, and I know it's straight. But reverse, in point, sub-trim, expose, assign. Like, I have every switch but one programmed on this thing. So, sound, 3-position. That's throttle trim. Auxiliary lights. You can do this button and this button so they're tied together. So this is my light switch. TR4, lift up down. SW1R is the airbags. Cruise control. And then the switch on this side turns the cruise control on and off. So this thumb wheel is actually set up to, that's where I can set it, and that's what its cruise control will be at percentage throttle. So if we go here, cruise on, and then I can just adjust it to whatever percentage of cruise I want. And then just turn it off. So this is a really nice radio. I kind of wished I had skipped buying that Spectrum Rugged and just went straight to this radio. To be brutally honest, it's so much easier to set up. Like I said, out of the box, bind, program, the Wheelie King, 10-15 minutes at most. I do have all of the channels on the transmitter set up for the hauler, but I don't know 100% if all those functions are going to be plugged into the same channels on the truck. Channel 1, 2, and 3 definitely, but 4 through 8 might get changed depending on how I like how it operates with the Bayer sound and light module. So we will grab ourselves a battery and head out to the garage. Put this receiver in the 53, and then we'll plug in all the functions we currently have. And like I said, I won't be able to show you the lights, but we'll hook the speakers back up and we can do some of the sounds. So let's go out to the garage. Alright, so I got a small 2S LiPo that I can power the truck up with. And since the Spectrum radio is not S or iBus capable, every channel had to be plugged in. And they're labeled steering, throttle, aux1, aux2, aux3, and battery. So auxiliary 3 is, if you run this in a nitro or something, that's where you plug the battery in. And I could not get this thing to function at all until I took the red power wire out of this, because the Bayer was sending power back through this side. So this channel wouldn't work at all until I unplugged that. Now hopefully we don't have that problem with this receiver, as it's unplugged. So unfortunately, to set this up to run the bus iBus system, I'll have to take the card in, reprogram this, and set up the radio for it. But for right now, again, still sealed in the package, we will bind this and hook up all the channels we have and give it a shot. And I don't know what happened to the box knife we had on here, but boy, yeah, it's skimping around, that's for sure. Alright, so here is the Fly Sky 8-channel receiver, bind button. Let's see here. Channel 8 and 7. Then we got VCC, which I don't know. And BVD. It might be for gyro or something, but then we have channel 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We'll go ahead and unhook all of this. Okay. Okay, so with the Bayer USM RC-3, you actually plug the ESC into prop 1 and then run a cable out to the receiver. That way, that's how it runs the sound module. Is it kind of puts this between the ESC and the receiver. Okay, so let's see here. Also shows you which way the plug needs to go, signal plus minus. We'll put throttle on channel 2. Steering on channel 3. Prop 3 is the lift servos, so we'll put that on channel 3. Let's see here. Prop 4 is I don't know if prop 4 is the lights or the sound. And same with prop 5. So we might have to switch these around. We'll go settings, RX setting, bind set, and we'll hit start bind. And we'll turn on the truck. And we'll hold down the bind button. And the receiver is flashing, so hopefully we'll find it here. Or I might actually have to use the other bind setting. Yep, I think we got to do the other binding. Enhanced. Yes. Yep. All right. Now on this, you can also send interference protocol, set up what all the functions do in failsafe, servo frequency. If you have analog servos, you can tell this to run an analog servo as an analog servo. My best settings. So we'll come back here. We'll have to reverse the steering. Steering, reverse, right, left. Also looks like we'll have to adjust the trim. Right. Throttle is good. Well, it turns out the USM wasn't actually getting power through the receiver, so I'd hook the battery leads for the USM up to the battery to get it to work. But now everything is on and still functions. So we'll try the airbags here. Now, if this is the first video you're watching, I do have the Red Cat lay frame servos, and the reason mine are slower than if you're running the stock radio is I'm running them through the USM, and I can change how fast the servos travel and how much they travel through programming the buyer unit. So that's why my lay frame servos are slower than if you were running the Red Cat radio, as they are running through this, which I can adjust all of the settings on. I don't even have to adjust them with the radio, which you probably can. But let's see here. I need the other radio on because I forget what channels were which. I think channel 4 was lights. So I think we need to go to channel 5 to do sound, which means I need to remember what channel I have on channel 5. Those are lights. Okay, channel 5 is sound, which should be this one, which also does steering trim. Well, that's some of the sounds. These switches are different than on the Spectrum. The Spectrum was intermediate. This one's, I think I got it set to 3 position. I should have done the horn. Okay, so I'll just have to get used to the buttons, as these buttons are a little different. Let's see here. If I had some more servos, we could plug in or lift cylinders. I think I got a servo around here somewhere. Yep. All right, so we will just plug in this servo to, let's see here, 6 is lights, so we need channel 7. Oops. I don't have a servo horn handy.
Center point.
So that moves very, very slow. So we might have to switch what channel those are on. Let's see here, what do I have you? You're assigned as cruise. So let's do you. Let's do you as channel 7. And that'll automatically change which channel the other button does. So it'll automatically remove it from that wheel. Okay. So yeah, that's a lot faster throw. I don't know on these wheels if we can change their speed or not. It'll have to be looked into. So I'll have to change and use the wheel lift on these 2 switches instead of what they're currently set at. Although, we'll see if we can change the speed. So let's go back here. Make you channel 7 again. And let's see here, step, type normal. can do 2 position or 3 position, normal. Oh, there we go. So we can change exactly how much speed we got. Okay. So now,
center point, center point, center point, center point.
Okay, that sped it up quite a bit.
Center point, center point.
So you can adjust the speed of all these switches, which is cool to know. So now I can actually, instead of using that button for 4-wheel steering, I could use one of these, which is just a little easier to get to on the Wheelie King. But that's pretty sweet. So again, my 2 takes on the radios themselves. So neither one of these radios I'm going to claim are on the budget end of things. This was $270. This one's pretty much $300. Now, the $30 difference, I think, really makes the FlySky worth it. This touchscreen is so much easier to use than this sensitive button that the Spectrum has. This does run on AA's. This has its own built-in rechargeable battery, and I think this battery on the bottom is like 4,800 milliamp. So this radio will last on a full, with both of them on a full charge, will last much longer than the AA's and the Spectrum. The Spectrum is a nice radio. I'm not going to knock it. It's just my personal preference for ease of use. The FlySky just blows it out of the water. If Spectrum had a little bit nicer interface than just its 3 little tap buttons, I think this radio would be well worth the price. Again, they both can have timers. This one has signal strength sensors. You can change what sensors it displays. I'm sure you can on this radio too. I haven't messed with it too much because, again, trying to get through the menus for me on the Spectrum is just kind of a pain. But a lot of people love the Spectrum stuff. I ain't going to fault them there. It does have a very solid following, and the Spectrum stuff works with all the Spectrum stuff. So you can buy a nicer transmitter and bind a receiver you already have to the better transmitter. So all of the Horizon brand vehicles run Spectrum now. So if you have an axial crawler with the RTR radio, you can upgrade to a better radio and just bind it to it. As far as I understand, with their smart batteries and stuff, this will tell you exactly how much battery you have. This one also tells you how much battery you have. And you can lock the screen so you don't accidentally change stuff. But yeah, both radios are really nice. I kind of just prefer the FlySky over the Spectrum. I mean, $30, 3 more channels, and a touch screen. Yeah, to me that's kind of a big deal. How easy it is to just move this wheel over to the other side so you can drive left-handed. And I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video, but it came with a different spring so you can adjust the spring tension on here, as well as it came with different triggers, and you can adjust the spring tension or change the spring out on the trigger to really customize the radio's feel. I don't know if you can do that on the Spectrum, but this radio, the FlySky, actually has provisions to adjust the trigger and steering tension, so you can really dial in the radio how you want it. You can change all of the buttons to do what you want it to do. You can change how fast you can do it. I just really think if you're going to buy an expensive radio, spend 30 more and get a little fancier radio. But that's going to do it for this video. I am working on the hauler. I'm just kind of waiting for paint to show up so I can actually paint some more stuff. I do have a logo finally finalized that I'm happy with to spray on the door. So I'm going to work on the truck and you're going to watch this video. Stay tuned because in the next video after this one, the hauler should be getting closer to being put back together and all the functions functioning correctly. So we'll catch you next time.